guys, we continue our battle report, part 2. I hope you watched the errors and omissions video so you see the situation we're now and what things we neglected to show, and I think it's more clear now. And now we're in the second stage, the second, let's say, initiative, the second deck of cards. We draw 4 cards for every unit and of the army, and let's draw. So we have the 9 of spades and the 4 of hearts. Now, if you see the table, you will see that the hearts has precedence against the spades. So let's have a look and see what the the French are gonna do. Now, the French have, for an experienced unit, they have 1 action. Here, the French, I'm a bit worried about them. I'm thinking of disengaging them. I think this disengaging rule will be very interesting for you to see. In order to disengage, you have to get a fatigue. And obviously, as the same with attacking action or pushing action of other units, that you get a fatigue point if it's not your initiative, you should not be shaken by this action. And the French are just fatigue 1, they will get another fatigue, they will get 2 fatigue points, so this will not be an issue. So what I will do, I will disengage the French. There is 1 action only. So if you go, so I can read you the rule. Withdraw. The maneuver allows a mounted unit to break contact with an enemy unit when engaged with all non-mounted opponents. This unit may use a move action if all models can be moved, so they are no longer engaged with any opposing models. Doing so costs 1 fatigue for each non-shaken unit with which they are engaged. So, withdrawing, they move 6 inches. So, very close, they will move. Can I move them somewhere else? Can I move them somewhere here? Yeah, so they move 6 inches and they withdraw here. They want to withdraw from the English. They want to take advantage of their charge bonuses, and they get another fatigue point. Let me put 2 here, and then I will start using dice so we don't have many tokens. So what happened here? The praying time again, guys. Only the praying time are shooting, apparently. So we disengage, we withdrew, but we got another fatigue point. But at least the French mounted, maybe with a better card, they can rally and charge and get all these extra bonuses they're getting. Now the English will now use the 9 of clubs. I think this is clubs. I think I'm saying it correctly. Now the French came as breakfast on a plate for the English longbowman in front of them, who will now shoot. They haven't shot an arrow storm. They can shoot with an arrow storm. They can shoot. They're shooting from point blank range. They will get all the power bow, the war bow, special rules. It's going to be a disaster, in my opinion. So the English will roll an arrow storm. They're already ready. I had them ready from before the get ready marker. So they will use an arrow storm, and that will mean that they will remove 1 marker, and then they will be shooting with half their miniatures for the remaining battle. But it's too tempting not to use an arrow storm in a situation like this. Now let's see 1 by 1 the special rules of the English and what they have. Now we will shoot an arrow storm. These are normal English longbowmen. They're not veterans, so they have arrow storm 2, as you can see here in your card. Arrow storm 2 means that they will get 2 extra dice. So they have 8 dice, they will get another 2, so they will roll 10 dice. Actually, good news, thank God, a friend of mine is bringing my D10s. I'm gonna have full D10s now, I'm around 20 maybe. So, 10 dice for the English to hit. Now let's see the negative modifier. That obviously is going to be 0 because they are 3 inches, and now you see the table for shooting. 3 inches has no modifiers for shooting. It's less than 4 and it's 0. So the English are going to do a straight roll of their shooting skill is 6, so they will roll 10 dice and they need to score a 6 to hit. Now the power bow in close range has the powerful 1 rule. You know this rule, we've discussed it before. But the mounted knights have the defense 1 rule. We discussed it about before. We're talking about the strength of the weapon of powerful. So a weapon, when it's very strong, like the double-handed weapons of the knights, create problems, give negative modifiers to the defense value of the opponent. But if the opponent has the power, the defense 1 rule, he can negate this because he has good armor. So these both are negate each other. So we roll now, and we roll 10 dice, and we'll see the English have to hit with the +6. So let's roll and see. Sorry about the praying. So +6 for the English longbowman. And they have also, don't forget, I have this favor I can use. So 10 and a 6, so 2 hits. Okay, we'll see. So we said we roll 10 dice, the extra dice of the arrow storm, and he needs another 6, and there's 3 hits. So 3 hits for the English. Now, are you satisfied with this, or should we use a favor to reroll? 3 hits are not bad, but should we reroll again? I would say no, I'm not going to roll again. 3 hits could be okay. Let's keep the favor for future use. So the French have to defend. The French squires, and they have a defense value from shooting, as you can see here, that is 6. So they need a 6 and above. But the arrow storm gives a +1 to the resolve die of the opponent. So let's roll to see the hits. We said that the mounted squires, French squires, need the +6 for saving, and we'll get to this rule afterwards. So they roll an 8, a 7, and a 4. So 2 save, 1 hit. So it seems that the English should have probably used the favor and create more problems. So 1 hit for the French. Now the French will roll 2 dice for resolve. As we said, 1 die for the hit and 1 die the actual resolve test. The arrow storm gives a +1 to the resolve die. So the French have a resolve number of the resolve. So the French have a resolve number of 5. They will need to roll a 6 because of the arrow storm. So they roll a 5 and a 7, and that 5 means they get another fatigue point and they become shaken. So the French are shaken. And now what's going to happen, and that's quite nice because we're going to see all the rules here, they're going to be pushed back because of becoming shaken. They're going to be pushed back 6 inches behind, and they're going to go even further away from the battlefield. So the French shaken from the arrow storm, pushed back, 1 casualty. Something I want to tell you, I don't remove casualties at the beginning, but slowly when the casualties accumulate, I will start removing. I'm just putting casualty markers. This is a personal taste. So the French pushed back from shooting, pushed back from the terrible arrow storm of the English, casualty, shaken, and in trouble. So let's go and draw another set of cards. For the English, the spades, and for the French, the diamonds. Now the diamonds have precedence over the spades, so the French will give activation. Now the diamonds give 3 to veteran and 2 to other units. So what the French are willing to do, I think I need to remove the shaken. Look at this, how we can counter this. If I remove the shaken, then I will have 1 action. And this 1 action, if this is 6, this distance is 6 enough, I can use a charge attack move to charge the longbowman who created problems for me. And it's not lucky longbowman. Lucky longbowman. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do something else. The French veteran foot with 2 actions, the French veteran foot with the diamonds, they have 3 actions. So they can move twice. Well, the distance is 6, the movement is 4 and 4, 8. So listen to the actions that the French will do. First, they will use 1 action to remove the shaken. They have to do it anyway. Second, they will move 1 action, and then they will use a second action to be charge attack. So before we move the French foot, we need to rally. They're shaken, that means they have 3 fatigue points. So we roll 1 die for each fatigue point, you can see on the table. And now we have to roll above their resolve number, and that's 6. So he needs to roll 6s, so he will remove the second. And 4 and 3 and a 0. So he removes 1 shaken, 1 fatigue, and he becomes just double fatigued. Double fatigue, this is not enough for the French because they will be very vulnerable, and I will try to rally them again. You have to rally until you move shaken and use another initiative point or attack as fatigued. Let's try and attack them as double fatigued. Okay. So what the French will do now, they have 2 remaining actions. 1 action will be the movement, 4 inches, and the other action, the second movement, as I told you in the previous video, it's going to be a charge attack action in 1. But now, it's a good opportunity for us to show you this rule. We have the defensive reaction rule. And let me show you how this works. So we move, first of all, 4 inches, the first move. That's how I do it, but the mechanics are the same. It's up to you, really. I do the first move of the French. Now, the English have a defensive reaction. That means, in many rules, for example, Hail Caesar is the closing shot, and many rules have actions like this. The longbow shooting the last minute before the charge materializes. Now, in order to do a defensive action, you have to take a fatigue point. So 1 fatigue point for the English. You should not be shaken. Obviously, the English don't have any fatigue points, so they just have 1 fatigue point, and they will roll. They will roll now. You remember I did the mistake of using arrow storm at the beginning of the battle, so they will unfortunately roll with 6 dice, not 12. But they have the power bow, the war bow. The war bow has some negative modifiers to the defense value of the opponent when it is in close range, and this is within 8 inches, it is 4 inches. So the English archers will use the powerful 1 rule. Powerful 1 rule, you remember what we said, is a +1 penalty to the target number of the skill test. So when they're defending, they will have a +1 modifier negative. So first of all, the English rolling 6 dice because they used their ammunition 1 for the arrow storm at the beginning of the battle. They need to hit because they're normal English archers. Their skill is 6, so they need to hit with a 6. So they have only one hit. Now here is where I'm going to use my favor. Doesn't matter. Let's re-roll again. Maybe we will be more lucky or unlucky. You never know. So we are much more lucky, and we roll an 8, an 8, and a 6. So 3 possible hits against the French, who will defend now with a 6. But because the war bow is in close range, it has the defense, the powerful 1 rule. They don't have good armor. They don't have the defense 1 rule to negate it, and they will roll a +1 to their defense value. Now, the French, as I said, have a defense value from shooting from 6, so they need 7s. So they fail all, and unfortunately, they don't have any rerolls, any favors. So 3 hits. I'm not going to put more markers, but I'm going to put this casualty marker and a micro dice that shows 3. And here is now the resolve test. The French have to resolve the 3 hits and the resolve die. So 4 in order not to get more fatigue points and get in big trouble. Because then they will get 5 fatigue points. They will be shaken, and another 2 fatigue points. They will be totally destroyed. So they need to roll a 6 and above with this 4. Let's see. So they roll a 7 and a 9, so they have 2 fatigue points. 2 fatigue points means they become shaken. Shaken is, as you see here, you see on the table, is shaken. 3 to 6 is shaken, so they get 1 fatigue point. They already had 2 fatigue points. They become shaken, and they become shaken, but they have 5 fatigue points. No, 5, excuse me. They got 2 hits, so they have 4 fatigue points. Excuse me, they have 4 fatigue points. So they're shaking and they have 4 fatigue points. Let me put the fatigue point with the green micro dice. So the French become shaken and their charge did not materialize. So they will have to fall back. Shaken units fall back to their table, 4 inches, their movement. And that is the disaster for the French. The charge did not materialize. They were stopped on their tracks. The English defensive reaction was successful, and this is a disaster for the French because the English in the future can shoot them again. They're shaken. They didn't manage to rally any. Well, they manage a little bit, and they're in trouble now. So this was a very unsuccessful action from the French. But I wanted to show you the defense reaction. So now the French finish, we have the English. Now the English, if you see the spades, the clubs, it's clubs or spades this? I think it's spades, yes. For veteran you have 3. And for trained you have 3, and for inexperienced you have 2. So what the English will do, they will give this action to the men-at-arms, and they will charge and try and finish the shaken French nobles, the French squires. They have a distance of movement of 4, obviously the distance is more, but the English will charge, attack the last move, and they will attack the French. And let's see now, the French are shaken, the French are pushed back, and this is a terrible, 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 terrible time, but brilliant strategy from the English attacking the French. See the situation here. The English charged. They will attack the French. They have 3 actions. 2 actions were performed, and the last one will be the attack, so no fatigues. The French are shaken already. they cannot fight back. And that would be a problem for the French. They are activated already because they were disengaged, but so they cannot do anything except if the commander gives them a point. We'll discuss this later. So let's see how this works. The English are in very, very close in creating big problems to the French. So let's roll for this melee. The man-at-arms attack, they have D6, they have powerful one, but it's negated by the defense one of the French, as we said. And they're normal man-at-arms, they're not a retinue unit, they're not the unit of the commander, so they will have a +6 attack, if I'm not mistaken. You see it here in your table, on your table, and they need +6. So they have a 9, a 4, a 4, a 3, and a 6. So 2 possible hits against the French, who will defend the +5. They have a defense, with a +6. So they defend a +6, powerful one is negated by defense one, and they will defend with a +6. But they're shaken. So shaken units apply a +1 penalty to the target number of melee saves to the maximum of 10. So they will defend with a +2 because they're shaken, obviously, and that means they need to roll an 8. So let's roll and see. And they roll an 8, that's good for the French, but they roll a 6 and they get another casualty. Let me put it here. So they have 2 casualties. Now they have to roll a resolve test with 1 hit. We said there is 1 hit, 1 die for the hit and 1 die for the actual resolve test. So the French have to resolve with the 5. Their resolve is a 5, not a 6. And let's roll. And they roll an 8 and a 4. And they become shaken. They get another fatigue point. So they're already shaken with 3 fatigue points. Now they will get another, they will be shaken with 4 fatigue points. This means that the French will fall back even more, 4 inches, and they will, now the English cannot follow up, obviously, because they are slower, but they have a choice what to do. They can stay as where they are, or they can move 1 inch, just a free move. So the French will fall back 6 inches. They have 2 casualties. I all started moving casualties because we're ending of the game, and we need to know which units are destroyed, because there are some special rules. And the English will probably stay where they are. They will do 1 inch. They have the option, the English have the option of doing a penetrating move. Either they follow back, they follow up, and they cannot follow up because the French are faster, or do a 1 inch move. We'll do them a 1 inch free move and put them here. You understand my strategy. So now we finished this part of the activation, and we have, a joker. We have a joker. Now, let's do the joker. A joker means we roll and we see from the events table what is happening. Now, something I want to clarify is I want to check with the author if a unit is shaken and then it fights hand-to-hand combat, if it's pushed back again, or if it stays where it is. So I will confirm this by the end of this video, or I will put it in the comment section. So let's roll for the events table and see there are some very interesting events. How events table work. So when a player draws a joker during a refresh phase, they immediately stop drawing, and we roll a d10 and consult the appropriate chart based on the type of game being played. Event effects are applied immediately. And then, unless otherwise indicated by the event, the player draws a replacement card. If the 2 players draw an event at the same time, apply the attacker's event first. So let's see what is the event. Now let's roll a d10, and we roll a 9. And the 9 is, the player who drew this event card determines a unit from their company at random. That unit immediately performs a fallback. If the fallback would result in the unit leaving the table, stop at the table edge instead. So a unit will do a drawback. Now which unit will do a drawback? Okay, actually better do the knights. So I will do a drawback from the knights. Very nice. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. How easily you can play this game with big armies. I'm not joking. I will do this because, I don't like very small games. So you will see how easily I can do it, and how easily you can do it with bigger units. It's very simple to house rule things. So we have to take a replacement card now that we drew the event, and we'll take a replacement card and we draw it, and we have the same clubs. So the English have precedence because it's a king, and let's see what the English will do. They will give it probably to the knights here or the longbowmen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this card to the veteran man-at-arms. And why? First of all, I'm going to use 1 fatigue point. They have only 1 fatigue point to remove it. So let's roll 1d6. Their resolve value is 6. It's 5, excuse me. They're a retinue of men-at-arms. They are veteran men-at-arms. So it's resolve dice. They have to reach as 5 and above. So let's roll and see. And they roll a 6, and the fatigue is removed. That's 1. Now we have another one, because we said it's 2 for veteran. And what they're going to do, they're going to move outside. 1 move. Here it provides soft cover. I haven't used this yet. It gets a -1 to the shooting, I think, and the hand-to-hand combat. Actually, I should have used it so you can see how it works now that I'm familiar with the rules, but nevertheless. So they're going to try and attack the crossbowmen who are weaker. They cannot wait to be shot. As I said, this commander here is an indicative. It should be. I use it so I remember that this is the retinue unit. And what they're going to do now is they're going to give the 1 command point they have within 6 inches here to the English to remove 1 fatigue point to the English longbowmen. So the English longbowmen will roll. These are veteran longbowmen, and the result number is 5. So they need to roll a 5 and above in order to remove this fatigue marker. And they roll a 7, and they remove the fatigue marker, and that's good for the English. Now that the English finished, we have to do the French. The French have the 8 of clubs as well, and they will probably use for the trained crossbowmen. So the trained crossbowmen will shoot against the English men-at-arms. The trained crossbowmen have a penetrating shot within 8 inches, and this will be actually a good opportunity to show how it works. They have this gives them 1 action. They have only 1 reload, ammunition marker, and that would mean reload marker, as we say, and that would mean they will shoot with half of their minions, because crossbows. This rules we talk about in the first part of the video shows the difficulty of crossbow reloading, and this is something everybody, it's a common factor for people who follow the 100 as well. So we roll 6 dice. There are 8. So we roll 4 dice, and we'll see the negative modifiers. The distance is 7. So the distance 7, as you can see on your table, it means below 8, so 1. So they have a +1 negative modifier to their attack skill. And let's see the 7s here. You see the result in your table. So these are heavy crossbowmen. They have a +1 negative modifier. They hit with a 6, so they need a 7. So 4 possible hits. So 4 dice. They need a 7 plus. And they roll an 8 and an 8, and that's very not bad. An 8 and an 8 for the French, and the English have to defend. Now the French have a penetrating shot, because the crossbows from close range were really deadly. So penetrating shot hits from ranged attacks made by this unit against an enemy unit no more than 8 inches away. Apply a +1 penalty to the target unit should save. So we are defending the English veteran men-at-arms, the English retinue of men-at-arms, has a defense value against shooting of 5. So +1 from the penetrating shot is 6. The English have to roll a 6. And they roll a 6 and a 3, then they get another casualty. And they have to roll 2 dice for the result test and see how many fatigue they got. And they roll a 6 and a 2. They pass with a 6, but they got 1 fatigue point. So let's draw our final cards. This is probably this longbowman and the retinue unit of the French. So a queen of diamonds and a 5 of hearts. A queen of diamonds, as you can see, the hearts have a precedence. In veteran, they have 2 actions. And now let's see what the French would do. It's a critical. So obviously the French is the only unit that hasn't moved is the retinue unit, and they have 2 command points. And they'll have also from the hearts, they have the veteran 2 actions. So they have 4 orders to give. And that could change the whole balance of the battle. So let's fight the last round of the battle. And I think in the next one, maybe we should do a battle report with more miniatures. But tell me what you want. So maybe we need to finish it. So 5 of hearts. 2 actions for the veteran unit of the retinue of men-at-arms. Just to mention that I forgot to put the reload 2 rules. Every time the French shoot, they get a reload 2 marker, and this means that they won't be able to shoot until they rally. They use an action to remove these reload markers. If I read it for you, the unit gains the number of reload markers as per their army list, so they have a reload 2. The unit may perform the reload action to remove a reload marker. When performing a ranged attack, a number of dice is reduced based on the number of reload markers on the unit. So we have 2 class, so we cannot shoot basically. I was thinking of giving an order for them to shoot. But in order to remove the reload marker, I need to give them basically 2 of the actions and then the another actions to shoot, so it's impossible. So what the French commander will do, he can give maybe an order to this mounted so they can remove the shaken. They has 4 shaken, so he has to roll 4 dice. Yes, that's what we're going to try to do. They have 2 fatigue points, 4 fatigue points, and that means that they're still fighting. When the fatigue points reach as a median 2 per the miniatures remaining, the unit is destroyed. So you have still 1, 2, 3, 4 miniatures remaining, and they have 4 fatigue points, so the still is fine. So if they had 8 fatigue points, that would mean that even if they have 4 miniatures in the unit is destroyed. That's one rule, except of course being shaken at +7 and getting having +7 fatigue points and breaking automatically. So what the French will do now, the commander will give them 1 order to rally their fatigue points. So 4 dice for the fatigue point. The French knights are within command range of the English and the English of their commander, and the French commander is not fighting, so he can give orders and command points to his fellow troops. So they need a +5 to resolve their fatigues for all 4 fatigue points. And the rules, okay, so they remove 2 fatigue points and 2 fatigue points stay. So they become fatigued only, but 2 fatigue points. And let me explain to you what I was looking for. I was hoping that he would remove at least 1 more fatigue point. So then, in my second order that I have, I would give him an order to charge the English. So 1 more order to remove the fatigue points for the English. For the French, let's roll. So they have 2 fatigue points. Let's try and remove them both. They need a +6. They have a 7 and a 1, so they remove 1 fatigue point. That's fine. But the points, the command points are given already. So now the 2 remaining command points will be directly to the retinue unit. That will charge, will move twice, 4 and 4, 8. The distance with the fatigued English is 7. So 1 move and 1 charge attack action. So let's see, the French attack. There's a powerful and defense 1 rule negating each other. Both have very good armor, both have very good weapons. The French have 6 dice. They will attack the English with 6 dice. They don't have any casualties. They need to hit with a +5, if I'm not mistaken, because they're commanders. Let's check again. They are the veteran men at arms. They need to hit with a +5. So let's see how many hits will the French inflict the English. Oh, here it is. So, and they need to hit with the +5. They have a 6, a 7, a 6, 3 possible hits that the English will defend, but will not defend with the powerful 1, with the defense 1. They're not going to get the extra die because this is negated by the double-handed weapons of the French. So they need to defend with the +5 again. So the English defend 2, but they have 1 hit. Let's put it 3. And they will defend now the resolve die and the 1 hit die. They need to hit above 5, excuse me, no, above 5, yes. And they're all both above 5, and they don't get extra fatigue point. That was very good because now the English can fight back. Otherwise, if they got a second fatigue point, they would have been, if they pushed themselves to fight in their opponent's activation, they would have become shaken and couldn't fight back. Now the English are fortunate to fight with only 3 dice because they have 3 hits. So they need to hit with, again, with the same dice. They need to hit with the +5. The French, they have another fatigue point because now they're attacking. They decide to attack back during the activation of their opponents. So they hit with the 3 dice and they need a +5. And they have a 5. And they have 2 possible hits that the French will defend with 2 dice. Again, defense 1 is negated by powerful 1. They defend 6 and 2. So 1 hit against the French, who will roll now 2d6, 2d10, 1 for the hit, 1 for the result to see if they will get fatigued, and that means again above 5. So they roll a 0 and an 8 and nothing happens. So this is the current situation, guys. We played another part of the game. Nobody's broken yet, and but things are getting very interesting. No, we have we have the Queen of Diamonds. Sorry, I forgot about this. The English hasn't finished. So now we have the Queen of Diamonds for the English. Now, the Queen of Diamonds will be used obviously by the longbowmen who are veteran, and the Queen of Diamonds gives the veteran 3 actions, not required here, we're going to shoot only 1, to shoot against the already very much shaken foot. The longbowmen already, as we know, shot the arrow storm. They will shoot with 4 dice. They don't have any casualties, half their dice. And let's see the distance, and you can see also the distance modifiers, what will be negative. They're not that close, but they're not that far, so it's around 8 inches. 8 inches below 8, it's less than 8 inches, it's +1. So the English, who are veterans, and they hit with a +5, they get a negative modifier, and that would mean they need a 6. So the English will roll 4 dice. Imagine now if I didn't shoot the arrow storm and I had all my dice. And they need a +6, and they roll 2 hits, 2 possible hits that the French have to defend. So the footmen have a resolve of 6. They roll 2 dice to defend the 2 possible hits. For the English, they have a 6 +1 of the powerful 1 rule. They need a 7. So let's see. And they roll 1. So they have 1 hit, so they go to 4. And they save. Now we took a resolve test. So they have a resolve of 6. The veteran foot, I don't like how I depict them here. These are lighter troops. I am having preparing now a more heavy unit looking like veteran troops because they had better armor. So they need a +6, and let's see. So they roll a 4 and a 0. 1 they avoid, 4 they get another fatigue point, and they go to 5 fatigue points. Now 5 fatigue points, and they have 4 units remain. They're 8, so there's no problem. There's no 2 fatigue points per miniature. Okay guys, so let's have a quick recap before we close, finishing the second activation round. As I wrote to you previously, by rounding up the hits, the fatigue points, and having 8 miniatures for the veteran foot, it's 1.6 per miniature. Rounded up, it's 2. So this unit is destroyed, is routed as per the secondary rules. Now we said that we have the crossbowmen who have still 3 reload markers, and they cannot do much. And currently the hand-to-hand combat between the great commanders, the English and the French retinue commanders. The English are in trouble here with 3 hits and 2 fatigue points. The longbowmen here were unscathed, and nobody really managed to reach them. Obviously, of course, the veteran foot were weak, not very strong unit to counter the power of the longbow, but still there is a lot of game to be played, although I think we're reaching at the end. Here again, the longbowmen, they're not the archers, not the veteran, they are normal archers, still they haven't been really challenged. And the second English men-at-arms, after pushing the squires, they're moving towards the flanks to attack probably the crossbowmen, who are quite weak in hand-to-hand combat. The mounted knights here, the squires, although they rallied and they removed some shaken and fatigue points, they're still with the fatigue marker, and they have 2 hits, and still they are part of the battle, but they're getting weaker. So this is the situation currently. I don't know if you want to play another round, the third one, so we can see what we'll do in the third round. We're going to discuss a little bit about victory conditions, about actions that are performed, and points, prowess points the English and the French are earning. I really enjoying the game. If you want anything more specific, rule specific, or you have any questions, please let me know. The Kickstarter is closed yesterday. Congratulations to Firelock Games and Eric. I think it went very well. And this is from me. I hope you're enjoying the battle. I hope you're enjoying the video. I am aiming to do a longer video with more miniatures, so we can see how this translates in a bigger battle stage. I think it will work very well. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great weekend. Bye bye.